We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Nicole Byer, helping you make those rooms flyer. Today's style tip: when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild! Like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Ooh, fierce! This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But DC politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
That's a great question. Originally, it was I had B2B data, so I can only sell to business. But that's not to say I've spoken to some founders. One of them is actually a very good friend of Dan Martell. And business to consumer is not. It's very sexy as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Season 3 of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm, of course, Phil Better, and this season is presented to you by Unicorn Incubator. Unicorn is the largest rural incubator accelerator of its kind in the world, located in southwestern France, Sola. Its mission is to give entrepreneurs and their families their lives back while helping them build game-changing technology startups. Startups in the company are provided with a complete ecosystem for success, with direct access to proven funding sources, top-notch legal and accounting representation, access to the world's most generous business incentives, and most importantly, a dedicated sales and marketing accelerator that will put a startup's product or service on the fast track to success. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, and today we are investing in Shawn Finder, the founder of Autoklose, an amazing product for B2B businesses. He is the founder and who recently exited from his company, as well as how it turned him into a serial entrepreneur, an angel investor, and a podcaster. We get to talking about his journey taking his second company from bootstrapped to being acquired. He shares some tips on what it's like to have your company being bought and what's up next for him. I'm going to give you just a quick bio of Shawn. Shawn started his first business out of school, which was distributing cosmetic packaging from the Orient. And in 2014, he launched ExchangeLeads that provided high-quality B2B contacts to companies in North America. Then in 2017, Shawn parlayed ExchangeLeads into Autoklose, which was acquired in October 2020. So I was really happy to get Shawn on the podcast. I told him a bit off air that he was the first guy on the show to be acquired. So let's go ahead and listen into this episode.
Shawn, thank you very much for being on the show. How about you give my audience a 30-second little intro, a little elevator pitch about who you are?
Perfect. My name is Shawn Finder. I'm born here in Toronto, Canada. Was a former semi-professional tennis player turned entrepreneur. Built my first company just at a university. My first SaaS company in 2014. Parlayed that into my second one in 2017, and we just had a successful exit October 2020. And that's a little bit about me. I'm sure we'll get into a lot more about all that stuff during the podcast.
Of course. So how does it feel to exit a company that you built? Because not a lot of people have that experience at our age. I'm guessing we're around the same age. I'm guessing you're not 85. You're a millennial because you're using the millennial language. But what does it feel like to exit a company when you're like in your 30s?
You know what? It was funny. I thought it would be a lot different. One of the mistakes I made was the day we got acquired, the next day I started to work for the company. So we had an 18-month transition. So I didn't really get to enjoy it. And also it was like, I didn't get to go on a vacation because at that time COVID just happened.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, so it was like one day I'm the CEO and the next day I'm the sales general manager, but I didn't really get to enjoy it. But you know what? The passion, no matter if I was the owner or not, is still there because I feel like it was my baby. I built it from the ground up. I don't think that'll ever leave, but I guess, when I can start taking a few vacations and then maybe enjoying some of the money I got from the exit, it'll be a little bit different. But so far, I haven't been able to do that.
Oh, okay. No. So you went from CEO to sales manager.
Yeah.
Are you still currently sales manager, or have you exited fully from the role?
So within the acquisition, they made me stay on for 18 months.
Okay.
So when we got acquired, part of it was I have 18 months, and obviously it was a cash equity deal. So there is still incentive for me to continue to work for them. But I would say my title is sales general manager, but I still do the CEO founder stuff every day.
Yeah.
I'm still managing the entire business because, people think that once you get acquired, it's a quick transition. It's a very slow transition. We're about 5-6 months in right now. And it's still very slow. So it doesn't happen overnight.
Okay. So that's where you are now. I'm not going to ask you where you're going because you're still in the transition period. You don't want to give away too much information. But you said you started your first business. What was your first SaaS business?
So the first business I started was called ExchangeLeads. And ExchangeLeads was, if you remember back when they, Jigsaw, which was acquired by Salesforce, it was called data.com. It was providing high quality B2B data for prospecting. So we built that model, and what happened was we built the business, and at some point the clients were like, well, we love your data, Shawn, we're using your data, but we have to use another platform to actually email the data. And at that point I felt like just SaaS in general, there's a lot of consolidation happening in the space. So I said, why not take some of the money instead of paying the Canadian government taxes and build another product and build something that not only allows them to get the data, but they can also email that data all in one solution. And that's where we came up with the idea of Autoklose, which started in 2017.
Okay. And I was reading it. You started it with just a 3-man team. It was just you and your buddies.
You know what? It's funny you say that. So it was myself, a friend of mine who I knew from another company I was working at. And then it was one of my best friends I brought on to do sales. It was a perfect timing. He was working for hedge funds and working investment banking downtown, kind of getting sick of, the whole every night you got to go entertain clients, go to hockey games, drink at bars, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, the hard life. That's such the hard life.
Yeah, I guess staying up till 4 a.m. and being up for 8, for many years. And he was a little bit older than us. I think we're a little bit younger. So he wanted a change, and he came in, and it was 3 of us in a boardroom. And literally, when we launched the product, I kind of made a big pre-launch 6 months before. So we actually launched Autoklose. We had about 800 people waiting for demos, but I only had 2 people. So it was a very chaotic 18-hour days, every 30 minutes doing a demo. And let's just say by the end of the day, I had no voice. It was me doing most of them. So it was having no voice for about 6 months.
That's part of the hustle, when you're starting out, you're bootstrapping it. I'm guessing you kind of bootstrapped most of it.
It was all bootstrap. We didn't raise any money. Well, funny enough, so we talked about my first business. And what I did was we had a whale of a client that we signed on for the first business that actually paid for the second business. So what we did was we bootstrapped it, didn't take any money, which, as a founder, I would do it again. It's a lot more work at the front, but you know what? There's nothing like not reporting to somebody in a boardroom and telling them what you're doing with your money, how quickly you have to scale, et cetera. So I'm kind of happy we did the bootstrap way. And if I did it again, I'd probably do it again.
Okay. Yeah. No. We just interviewed a gentleman who does Artist Republic, and he's jumping into he's investing now. He's got investors now, so he went from bootstrapping to the investor side. And he's like, "There's pros and cons to both." So I'm interested because you're going to be fully exiting a full bootstrap business. So it's going to be interesting to see if your next one is going to be an investor one. So you kind of have the money, but you still have to report to people.
You know what? So with the transition now, I'm with a bigger company, obviously, and it is a big change for me. I just feel like when you're bootstrapped and you're working, it's like, you're go, 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 you're hustle, hustle, hustle. And when you're with a bigger company, it's like, okay, now we're process oriented. Now you got to have 12 meetings to accomplish something that should take 30 minutes. And, a feature release that I used to just say, just release the feature. We're going to have some bugs. We'll fix them along the way. It's like, nope, it has to be perfect. It's going to take 2-3 months to develop. So I'm going through it right now. It's a bit of a change, a bit of a transition for me. But bootstrapping is a lot of fun. But the fun part actually isn't when you start the company. It's when you become a little bit profitable and you grow the company. Those different growth hack ways to grow a company can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I've been watching a lot. I've been watching, I don't know if you do, Dan Martell, another great Canadian SaaS dude. So watching him and watching his Escape Velocity podcast is just like, oh my God. And listening to the people who either bootstrapped or got the investors in, it sounds so much fun, but also so stressful, both sides. So,
it's definitely a roller coaster. I would say I had in 2-3 years, I had maybe 2 or 3 like not breakdowns, but kind of where you have a bad month. You're like, am I gonna be able to pay my employees next month? Like, are we gonna be okay next month? Yeah, I had 2 or 3 of those, but I built it very lean. I was all about being profitable.
Yeah.
Not worrying about anything else but being profitable, and then it grow from there. And it worked really well. But there was a few times where it was like, like the first year I took no salary. So for me, it was like, okay, well, I'm taking no salary. At that point, I have a girlfriend. Like, is she gonna want a guy that's making $0? Like,
that's when you know if she's a ride or die. Like at that moment, you're like, is she ride or die, or is she just here for the gold?
It's like, we're gonna be eating craft dinner every day for the next year. No, but you know what? She was my girlfriend at the time when I started the company. Now is my wife. So she definitely.
So she is a ride or die. So she was a ride or die.
Liked me as much as when I made $0, and as much when I made the exit.
Well, that's good. You got that good girl. She supported you, so that's great. So your first business was the lead gen, and then you parlayed it into Autoklose, which is like a full service, I'm guessing.
Sales engagement platform similar to your Sales Loft, your Outreach, etc.
Okay, cool. And what gave you the idea to do a business to business business? Business to business business?
That's a great question. Originally, it was I had B2B data, so I can only sell to business. But that's not to say I've spoken to some founders. One of them is actually a very good friend of Dan Martell. And business to consumer is not. It's very sexy as well. So I think I only got into it because I had the B2B data, and that was the first business I started. And I started building my own personal brand in that B2B community. Mm-hmm. So even now, when I'm thinking of different ideas, it's like I almost feel like I've spent 5 years now building my personal brand in that B2B. It'd be tough to go to the B2C, but I mean, look at Amazon, all these other big companies are B2C, and they do really a lot better than I did on my exit.
Well,
we did good, but not that good.
Well, to be fair, you do have a team of 37 people. Like that's an accomplishment. You went from 3 to 37. That's an accomplishment. You have an exit that's probably you're very happy with, or else you wouldn't have exited. And now you're getting to see the other side. Because I'm coming from the banking world, so the finance world, so working for big companies, and slowly starting my little side hustle of podcast production. So I know what it's like to be in like 18 meetings and you're like, this could have been an email.
Well, guess what? I come from the same world you come from. I did my MBA in finance and worked at the big banks here in Canada before I became an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so
I know that industry very well. One of the reasons why I got out.
No, it's like my exit plan is like, okay, how fast can I get out? How can I bootstrap my way out of this so that I'm not beholden to someone else? Because being your own boss is an amazing feeling, but also must be stressful as all hell.
It is it gets to be when you start growing and stuff. It was an amazing feeling because you know why? It was like, I can go to Hawaii and work from the beach. I can go on anywhere in the world. I can, and as a business owner, you get to expense a lot of your life as well. So it's like, you can buy a nice car and expense it. You can go on vacations, expense it. There's a lot of different things you can do as an owner. And now that I'm back as an employee, Let's just say I make the same amount of money I did, but I'm cut in half because of the taxes, and it's killing me.
I'm pretty sure after this 18 months, you're going to be already starting a new, take a couple months, maybe another, 4 months, get that full 2 years out. And then you'll be like, all right, what's my next goal? Let's jump into it.
Yeah. Well, I look at it like this. You can, if you start your own business, you could work for somebody and make $150,000, or you can work for yourself and make $75,000. It's almost the same thing, right? So there's a lot of write-offs you can do as a business owner. So I definitely think I'll be back at some point in the bootstrapping business, probably a SaaS once again.
Probably a little less lean than it was before, maybe a little more because you have that extra currency, and you already know all the tricks to go. Yeah,
I think the number one thing I would say is a lot of the mistakes. And anyone that says they don't make mistakes, we made a lot of mistakes. A lot of things I learned throughout the process. A lot of things I would do differently. And now that you know that's a wealth of experience in itself. So when you do the next one, it's like, okay, I remember, build your SEO from day one. Don't start that in year 2. Start it in year 1. So different cool things like that I did, testing marketing stuff and content versus, as I said, podcasts are great. And I just started my own podcast last week, just a week ago.
Congratulations.
So, I think it's, a lot of different things that you learn that are really, you can get an ROI off. Some are for branding, but a lot of different things you learn along the way.
Yeah, I think podcasting is like our generation's radio. That's why I love talking to people, because one, it's fully controlled and you don't have to deal with the commercials. That's my big thing. Yeah. Commercials. I hate commercials.
Yeah.
Podcasting is I can stop, play, listen, do 100 things. So I'm glad you got a podcast. I'm gonna definitely listen to it, because hell, you exited a company. I might as well take some advice from you on your podcast.
and what we do is actually we talk about it's 0 to 5 million. So I talk about everything and I talk to founders. I've taken companies from $0 to 5 million, all bootstrapped. Mm-hmm. But funny enough, about 8 months from now, I'm going to be writing a book on everything I did throughout the whole 3 years to my exit from day one. It's being started right now. So probably about, I would say, early 2022, because I'm just a little bit busy right now. There'll be a
Obviously. book. You have a little, you still have a job, so you still have some.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, that's interesting. And you getting that book is going to probably be an amazing book to read, because it's our generation. It's like our Warren Buffett's, our Robert Kiyosaki. I can't pronounce his last name. There we go. I can never pronounce his last name. But yeah, no. So, what was one of the biggest struggles you found when you were bootstrapping it? When you were right after you started getting that profit, like how did it feel to start hiring people? Because being with your buddies, that's fair. You're all equal partners, and then you're starting to be a boss. You have employees that answer to you.
Yeah, that's an amazing question, and I always tell people this, and people think I'm totally wrong, but I always say the one thing I've learned in life is if you're going to hire quick, you better fire quicker. Meaning, you're going to go through people. If you have somebody for a month and you realize they're not the cultural fit, they're not the worker, they don't have the same passion, vision as you, don't say, well, they're going to get better at some point. We're just going to let them, give them another month, No, get rid of them right away. So one thing I had problems with was hiring salespeople. And the reason why is, and not to try and be conceited or cocky, but I think I'm,
you're a Canadian. It's fine. You're allowed to be a little cocky.
I think I'm an amazing salesperson. So when I hired a salespeople, it was always like I compared them to myself, and I'm like, well, like they're not like me. And then what happens is you hire people, and when you're bootstrapped, it's like you want to find a deal. So you want to hire somebody for a little bit less money, and you give them a job, and you train them for 3 months on your product, and then they say, oh, well, across the road's offering me $10,000 more. I'm going to leave. And then what happens is I invested all this money training you, and you've just taken everything I've trained you, everything I've taught you, and you've moved across the road. So finding good people was tough early on. But once, I made my first mistake in the first 6 months, never made that mistake again. And I will say to this day, I have the best team. We are like literally a family. Still, everyone that moved over to the new company, Vanilla Soft, but we know each other personally. We know each other's dogs' names, kids' names, everything. And until about 2 weeks ago, I actually never had a person quit.
Ooh.
And 2 weeks ago, it was one of our newer hires, and she quit. We're still friends, but it was the first person I've had in about 5 years of being a CEO have me quit. And that's because we've really developed and trained and mentored good people and helped them with the most important thing, which is their own personal growth.
That's an important thing. You're investing in your employees, which I think a lot of businesses, like big businesses, forget to do. They forget that the employee is kind of a very essential part of the whole thing. Like the customers are important, but if you don't invest in your employees, you're not going to get the ROI that you want from them. They'll just be this, they come in, check out. That's all they does. And I think being a small group, everybody's connected. So you have that chance to personal connection with all your employees.
Yeah, and what we did was incentivize. I speak to CEOs all the time, and they talk about should there be options in the company? Do you need commission plans? Like, salespeople are motivated by money. Mm-hmm. So if you're not going to give them some sort of commission plan or some sort of incentive, they're going to clock in, like you said, at 9 a.m. and they're going to leave at 5 p.m. So always incentivize, because if you can get good people, it's going to cost you less in the long run because you won't have to train all those people that come in and out of your company.
Yeah, and that saves you money in the long run and keeps you even more profitable. When you started Autoklose, did you expect to be able to exit so quickly after starting it?
We weren't even looking for an exit. I was still in growth mode. What happened was I was at the SaaS North conference in Ottawa. Great conference every year. And about 20 feet away was a company in the same space, sales engagement space, but they focused on phone, SMS. And the CMO came over and just saw our platform. We showed a demo in our booth. And he goes, I want you to speak to the CEO. And the next day, the CEO came and said, we're looking to add email as our multi-channel. Like, are you interested in getting acquired? And I've always been one of the people say, like, give me an offer. I'll always listen, but like never expected it to actually happen. We ended up meeting in Toronto a few times. We got, just like any negotiation, it was a long 10-month negotiation. Got our first offer, which was a lot less than I was even going to think of. So that was kind of the floor. And then I came back with the ceiling and said, this is what I'd expect, because we were still growing 40, 50% year over year. During the pandemic, we were accelerating. Because more people want to send emails. You can't be doing calls. So we were just growing. The US dollar was helping us because we were charging in US. We're here in Canada. A lot of different things.
Smart. The one thing I love about being Canadian is that we can charge in the American, and all our banks take American money. We can have American bank accounts without any problem. So it's genius for us.
It was amazing. So it ended up happening over 10 months, back and forth negotiation, a very long process, another great experience. And we ended up coming to a number where I felt like, for me, it was a good number, but I was also, as I said, I'm always important for my team. And, some of my team members had options. And I was like, you know what, this number is a life changer to some people. And at that point I said, it's not all about me. It's about, I can change some people's lives in my company, which I did, bought them all their first house, et cetera, et cetera. And that was more important to me. So it was good timing. I feel where the space is going, sales engagement, I think just in SaaS in general, consolidation is going to be happening, a lot of mergers and acquisitions in the near future. I saw a report yesterday from MarTech that there's 7,000 SaaS companies basically doing the same thing, marketing, sales, CRMs, et cetera. So I think it was good timing. And it was an exciting exit for me. But as I said earlier in the show, I haven't been able to enjoy it yet.
No. COVID's kind of, putting that at a halt. And so I was also looking on your personal website, Shawn Finder. You're an angel investor.
Yes. So even before I sold the company, I've always been a very big investor early on. So I'm investing in a few companies right now. There's another company called Lead Delta I'm working on. A friend of mine's working on that I'm kind of invested in. So I do invest a lot. I do a lot of keynote speaking. And lately I've actually taken some advisory roles. So I'm starting to be an advisor for SaaS companies. There's one in Montreal, so I'm trying to help out actually Canadian companies.
Love that.
I'm also working with Mars. I'm trying to get in with Mars and here in Toronto so that I can give some free advice to SaaS companies here in Canada. Because I feel like, I've been through a lot through this acquisition, and I could help people save, thousands of dollars and months of work by just telling them different things I learned through through the experience. I love sharing that content, which is why I kind of built the podcast, so I can provide all that information to everybody, but more importantly, my fellow Canadians.
I love that. I think that's one of the best things about Canadian culture is we're so socialist, if you will, that we love sharing with everybody. Like we don't hoard the knowledge to ourselves, because we know the more we give, the better it comes back to us. Like you said, you've helped some of your employees buy their first home. Like, how many bosses can actually say, by exiting my company, I helped them buy their first home? And that's, like you said, life changing, and that puts you on another level than most bosses. Like, if I was working for you and you helped me get my first house, I'd be like, yo, what do you need, Shawn? You have a body somewhere needs burying? I'll help you, man. Like, houses, especially in Toronto, houses are not cheap.
Oh, I'm going through it right now. I'm looking for my new home. So they got their home, and I'm the one, the CEO here, still looking for my new home. But it's definitely a crazy market here. But hopefully soon. We're going to see every day, but it's a tough market in Toronto, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I have a few friends who live in Toronto, and they bought their first place or first condo, and they're like, I hate it. It's so bad. Because like here, like what we can buy for $500,000 here is like a mansion compared to what you can get in Toronto for $500,000. So it's so great that I can see another Canadian like becoming bigger, and we're becoming more and more in the global market. I find with our more SaaS businesses and that. Yeah,
there's a lot of entrepreneurs. It's amazing. I'm part of the Entrepreneur Society here in Toronto, and it's great to see what's going on. To be honest, it's not only Toronto, it's all over Canada. I mean, one of the companies I spoke to, is in Montreal, another one is Alberta, even Winnipeg. They're literally all over Canada. It's great to see. So, I do have a little bit of extra time right now, so I'm really trying to help everyone out as much as possible. So that's one of my new initiatives this year, was to become an advisor for 3 different SaaS companies. So I've locked in one. I'm looking for 2 more now.
Well, I highly doubt that you won't find them. I know you will find them, and you'll help them exit out if they want to exit or whatever. Because you have that Canadian niceness. It's the Canadian niceness, and it's the best thing in the world, because everybody is like, I can trust a Canadian. Yeah.
Well, that was the funny thing when we got acquired by a company out of Gatineau. Their head office in Gatineau in Ottawa. And funny enough, it was one of the things that he said when he actually acquired it. He goes, to be honest, like, knowing that you guys are 4 hours away, getting to meet us in person, shake our hand, and do all that kind of stuff, and knowing it's a fellow Canadian, with same vision, it was one of the reasons why they actually acquired us.
Yeah, that's great. See, it's already paying off for you. Being a nice guy is paying off because you got this great.
They usually say nice guys finish last, but not this time.
Well, we finish last, but we always finish ahead of everybody else. That's how I look at it.
Agreed.
No one's going to get mad at us. We're trying to help you, and you're like, oh, I can't be mad at you. Have you ever tried to be mad at someone who's nice? It doesn't work.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So when you were, what were some of what was one big challenge you had when you were starting the bootstrapping it, like either business, either your Autoklose or your lead gen business?
So the one challenge we had, and I, as I said, I come from a competitive background, so I love challenges, was I was bootstrapping a company and competing against competing against 2 companies that raised over $400 million. But my challenge was I still wanted to steal their business. And I was successful. So Sales Loft and Outreach were our competitors at the time when we started Autoklose. And it was like, okay, well, we don't have a marketing budget. We spent $0 in marketing. We've never spent $1 in marketing.
Oh, shit.
We don't do any retargeting, no Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads. We never spent money on it. And that was one of the biggest challenges, was trying and get a company profitable and scale it, but at the same time, not to fall too far behind from the people that are doing things really well in the same category. So that was a challenge we had, but we found our niche. We found, I said to my guys one day, I sat them down on one of our town halls and say, listen, let Sales Loft and Outreach get every enterprise client. We don't want them. Let's focus just on the small and medium-sized businesses, what they're not going after, and put a price point where we can tackle them. And that's what we did. We ended up going after that specific niche, letting them, if it was an enterprise company that came to us, we said, use Sales Loft or Outreach. But if it was a small one, we would tell them why we are better than a Sales Loft or Outreach.
That's smart. That's pretty much, that's a genius idea. You found your niche. It's the small businesses are undervalued.
Exactly.
But they're the ones that are really pay your bread and butter, and they'll be with you for nearly life if you give them a good enough service.
You got it. Exactly.
Value, value, value. That's all it is. It's all value. That's what
you got to continue to give value.
Yeah, it's, and one of the guy who was talking about Artist Republic, he was saying, don't give free, give 99-cent value, get that $1. And if instead of getting that free, did you do free trials, or did you do the $1 idea?
That is amazing you bring that up. So 2 weeks into starting Autoklose, I went to a live event here in Toronto with the Drift CEO, David Cancel. He was speaking. And he mentioned on that, and he goes, never give anything for free at the beginning. I'm like, oh, you want people to try. He goes, you want them to have something in there with you, something. So what I did for our first 50 clients on our demos, my first 50 demos, I said, Bill, how much would you pay for a tool like Autoklose? He's like, well, I don't know, like $30 a month. It's yours. Go. I had one guy that says, well, right now I can't afford anything, so I'd probably only give you $1. I'm like, it's yours. Go. So what I did was, for the first 50 clients, they decided their pricing. I asked them, what is it worth to you? And they told me they could have said 50 cents, $10, $5, and they're still grandfathered at the price. But you want, even if they're paying 50 cents, you want to have some sort of credit card attached to that subscription, something that holds them accountable, that they're actually paying for you and believing in you and believing in the future of your company. So we did that. Now we offer a free 14-day trial, but for our first 50, 100 clients, it was whatever you want to pay, we would sign you up for.
That's a smart thing, but that also tells you where your market value is going forward. Because if people are saying, oh, this is a $50 thing, you're like, okay, I know we can charge $50 because we have X amount of people paying the $50. So that's a genius way to figure out your pricing as well.
So how we did that was exactly like you said. We started off with that, and then the next we started at $19.99. And then every 3 months we raised it $10 until we found where we had people dropping off at that price. So we went from $19.99 to $29.99 to $39.99 to $49.99 to $50.99. At $50.99, we felt people were starting to drop off, moved it right back down to $4.99, and we've been at that for a year and a half now.
Oh, that's a smart business plan right there. Jeez, wish I thought of that. But so you figured out you didn't do any marketing, and for the whole time you never did spend any money on marketing?
Any paid marketing. We did do a lot of content. So we have people in-house doing content and SEO after year one, but we never did Facebook ads. We never did Google ads. We never did LinkedIn ads. We tried it for like 2 weeks. It was never a good return on our investment. We did a bit of retargeting once, stopped that, but we never had a budget for marketing. It was more word of mouth, referrals, and then using our own tool. We have a sales tool, so we had our sales team using the own tool we use. And LinkedIn. LinkedIn was a big asset early on. It's turned to more of a spammy thing now, but when we started 5 years ago, it was a lot different.
Yeah, no, I'm on LinkedIn, and the amount of pitches I get.
Yeah, it's a lot more than it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, so I fully feel that, and I'm getting it on Facebook as well. Like they're doing both, and it's spammy. Yeah. But I think that's more because of COVID and everybody trying to get into, become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So not one question, I have thousands of questions, but what advice to someone starting off in the SaaS world, starting their first SaaS business?
Okay. The first thing I said when I started my SaaS business was I looked at Jigsaw, saw they got acquired for $100 million. I'm like, I'm going to build a company and sell it in 3 months and be a millionaire. It doesn't happen. Okay. It's a walk. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You got to have patience. You're going to have a roller coaster, and be ups and downs, but just, stick to the process. And at the hard work that you put in, at one day you'll get it out. I remember back in the day, like I'd be, working in coffee shops. I had no office. I'd be working I would just be everywhere. I'd be doing support. I was doing sales. I was doing everything. But as long as you keep working hard, it'll all pay off. Sometimes sooner than later. But, I was pretty shocked that we got acquired in about 2 years, and grew the company so big. So just continue at it. It's good. It's not going to happen overnight, though. That's my number one thing I would say.
Okay. What was one of the best moments, apart from getting acquired? Because I'm pretty sure that was a huge moment for you, popping the champagnes and that. But what was another big moment, like a big win that you felt you had when you started Autoklose?
One of the biggest wins was getting one of the largest telecom companies, Rogers. Everyone knows Rogers here in Canada, as our client. Once I got Rogers as a client, I walked in there off a cold email, got a meetings, had about 7 meetings, got in there, did a presentation, got them on as a client, and said to myself, you know what? I just got Rogers as a client. The world is my oyster now. And after that, I was like, can't be scared to go after any company at any size of any revenue. Just go after them, because if you can get into a big company like that, you've built a good enough platform that they're going to take it. A lot of other people can use it as well.
That's a big win for you.
It was, let's just say, what our first year was about 65% of our revenue.
Nearly did a spit take there. Damn, that's a whale of a client.
It was a big win.
That's a huge. That puts a big, like, your chest must have been popped when that happened.
Yeah, definitely walked out of that office with my chest popping out. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Wow, Rogers.
Yeah.
So for people who aren't in Canada, Rogers is like the second biggest telecom company in Canada. The first being Bell, but Bell just owns everything. That's why.
It would be like an AT&T or T-Mobile.
Yeah,
or
that would be
like
roughly there. Yeah. What's your plan for the future?
It's a great question. Right now, the plan is to continue to grow VanillaSoft where we are right now for 18 months. Potentially stay, kind of see where the company's going, see where they're hitting their numbers, see if they're hitting their vision, if they're, where they want to go with the product, see where the market's going. But I would say definitely at some point I'll start something else. Is that 3 years down the road, 5 years, 1 year? I haven't made that decision. I'd still like to just take that one vacation where I can sit down and enjoy myself and enjoy some of the luxuries of the acquisition.
Yeah.
But I definitely think I'll be advising, doing consulting, and then starting something at some point.
That's good. No, I think that's a good thing. Take a little break, relax a little before you jump back into the bootstrapping world of business. Yep. Would you ever stay permanently at VanillaSoft and just stay with them the whole role?
I mean, it's an option. I'd love to see.
Not putting you on the spot.
Yeah. I'm kind of, I don't like to commit to anything really, but I'd like to see where they are a year from now. I think we have a good roadmap over the next 8 months. See where we go. See if we are a number. See how the team's doing, the company's doing. But as I said, there is equity in there for me, so there's incentive for me to continue to grow that VanillaSoft brand and continue to help them. But I just know at some point with myself, at some point I'll probably start something new. But I don't see that in the near future. But who knows? I'm still at the age right now where I still have a few more I want to get under my belt.
Of course. So, have you done a lot of public speaking or a lot of conferences talking about your Autoklose, or how's that going?
So we did a lot. I did a lot before COVID, but lately, I've been doing some. It's all been virtual. I spoke at a tech exit conference talking about our exit 4 months ago. I'll be speaking in April 1st for the city of Hamilton and BDC. So I'm also speaking with Mars, the Mars community here in Toronto. So doing some different speaking. As I said, I'm just trying to expand my knowledge to everybody that's starting SaaS, so I can kind of give as much input as possible. So, but I love doing speaking events. I love talking about it. I love talking about more the mistakes than the wins, because I think people could learn more from that. But as you mentioned earlier today, it's all about value, and as long as I can continue to provide value, I'm more than happy to speak at events.
It's true. It's value. The more value you give, the more value you'll end up getting. Because chasing money you won't make money, but if you chase the value, that's when money comes. But also it doesn't matter if someone else takes your value that you give them and they get more money, they make more money than you, because you can say they took it from me. because you're going to be part of someone else's story, you know, like you're part of your employee, your team's story about like, yeah, my boss helped me buy my first house by exiting out the company, you know, so we're getting acquired, not exiting, well, both. So I'm gonna, you're in a rush, so we're gonna cut it short. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes here, or you have up to 5 minutes, just promote anything you want. Tell us about VanillaSoft and all that stuff.
Perfect. So start with VanillaSoft, sales engagement platform, more multi-channel. So if you're looking for, when doing SMS, phone calls, VoIP, etc., they have an amazing tool. The reason why they acquired us was for our email. So Autoklose is more email-based. So if you're just strictly looking for email, Autoklose is the tool. But soon enough, you'll be able to do all multi-channel through VanillaSoft. I would say our podcast, we launched our podcast last week. It's called the 0 to 5 million podcast. We talked to founders that have brought companies from 0 to 5 million, SaaS companies. It launched last week, had our first 6 episodes launched, and I'm doing a lot of recordings this week. So hopefully that succeeds. And I'm starting a book, but the book will be probably about 7-8 months away. We're trying to make it 150 pages of basically value, like you said, all the different mistakes we made, how to grow a company in month 1 to month 18, how to exit the company, etc. So looking forward to that. Trying to do some keynote speaking and advising. So if anyone wants anyone has any questions about anything we talked about today, I'm an open book. Feel free to email me, Shawn@autoklose.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I love talking about SaaS. I love talking about the exit. I love talking about, I love helping organizations. You don't have to be in Canada, but I love helping Canadians a lot. So feel free to reach out at any time with any questions.
That's awesome. Shawn, I want to thank you so much for being a guest. This was an amazing. I love connecting with Canadian entrepreneurs because it's always value. Like, not saying other people don't give values, but like just connecting with a Canadian, seeing the amazingness that a fellow Canadian has done, exited out a company feels amazing to see a win for the Canadian side. And I don't think we boast enough about our wins, except for hockey. We win in hockey.
Well, thanks for having me on the show. This was a lot of fun, and if the audience wants, I'd be more than happy to come on again and dig deeper into the acquisition.
Oh, you are more than welcome to come back. I can't wait to drop this episode so we can get so much feedback. Thank you again, Shawn, and have a great day, and good luck finding your home, your new home.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the conversation with Shawn. Please make sure you check out his podcast that he's launched, 0 to 5 million podcast. Link is the top link in the show notes down below. As well, check out his company. Get to him on LinkedIn. It would be great, as well as his personal website. And check out his podcast LinkedIn profile as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I am, of course, Phil Better. This is the Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I wish you guys all the best, and remember to invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Nicole Byer, helping you make those rooms flyer. Today's style tip: when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild! Like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Ooh, fierce! This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.